Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Well, my internet was out earlier, so I was a little worried about this, but we're doing it. It's great.
Glad you fixed it.
I had nothing to do with it, and I will have words with Optimum later. Uh, Speaking of words, I saw the film at Telluride, so I saw you give your intro, and I was so tickled when you talked about how after taking, everyone into the mud and the muck and just everyone got rained on for months. And I promised everyone I would make the next movie in like the Bahamas or something. And the Vatican's close enough. Like, I just love the idea of, I obviously want to make a movie. I'm passionate about all the, the reasons you make a movie, but also it would be nice for everyone to be dry and warm next time. That's not a bad idea. It's such a nice sentiment of, yeah, it's so many people make these movies.
That's true. And you kind of want those people to be happy and to spend time with them. And yet, that's of course not the motivating factor. You want to make a movie that really sort of pushes you and it pushes everyone out of their comfort zone. And Rome pushed us out of our comfort zone in a different way. It just kind of, in terms of making a political thriller that is cohesive, that is precise, just took a lot of concentration and a lot of also rushing. We didn't have the money to just take our time in the schedule. It was very, very taxing to get the movie done in time.
Right. And I think the like sort of sly sense of fun that the movie has, you need to have people in a good mood. You need to have people like there for it and sort of living for the sly fun of it. Because I think that's the thing that was the biggest surprise going in. What little we'd seen going in is like, okay, well, I know the cast, I had the idea, I'm in. If you knew the book, you knew like, okay, it's like pulpy. And then you watch, you're like, this is funny. This is meant for you to be laughing also. And it's the absurdity of things. The it's such a cool thing to watch a filmmaker have the same sense of control in a movie that is attempting completely different things. You know,
Oh,
they're
that's right. That's exactly what we tried. Let's make an entertaining movie that is also, artful in its way and also, yeah, has precision and I like movies that where I can see that people know what they're doing.
yeah.
I don't like just let's put up the camera on the shoulder and see what we get. With certain filmmakers like Cassavetes, that's
Yeah.
what he does, and he's great at that, and I admire that. I'm just not that person, so I just can't. So I like planning, and I like when a movie is like architecture for me. You build it. It has to have a strong foundation. It has, I want to see the window that is on the first floor mirrored on the third floor. I want to get those themes straight, and I want to, have it mirrored in shots and in, it's all like part of a big piece of puzzle. And yeah, I respond to that type of filming.
And if you have it, obviously time and money are always the factor, but if you have the ability to do that, if that's planned in, you literally can look at what your shot's going to be and go, I can kind of control everything in the field of vision. I can control what everyone's going to see. I can make it so that that window that we're gonna see 10 minutes from now, I just want to have it in this shot because I want people to sort of, if their brains work that way, know, okay, this is the first floor, we're going to the third floor. Like, I think this movie does such a good job of that. Like, it's so many of the rooms look the same, but you always have a sense of place. You're never lost, and nothing ever feels out of nowhere. And there are things in this movie that I think if I told you what happened, well, but like if I told my dog over there, he'd be like, what? Which is again the fun of, if you're in the hands of a good filmmaker,
Yeah.
you can literally do anything. And I think it's underrated to want to make an entertaining film. It's almost like looked down upon when like someone who's seen as good at their job wants to make a movie, right? As opposed to like a capital F film. Like, I always think about The Rainmaker. Coppola made it because he needed money, but like he made that movie the best possible version of a Grisham courtroom movie. Like, that movie's entertaining and fun and well made, and it was made because, geez, I got bills to pay. But if you know how to do it right and you want to do it, it comes out amazing. I think you watch this movie and you just feel like you're in the hands of someone who's like, I've got this, trust me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like, thank you so much for saying that. And I think, you know, what you said earlier, to me, but I had a, you know, I when Dogma was hip in the 90s, I thought like, oh, this is filmmaking, you know,
Yeah.
capturing, and it's the truth. And we got to capture reality. And then I had a huge crisis because I suddenly realized it's all fake. You know,
Yeah.
it's all, you know, it's not real. You know, how can we get reality on film? And then my best friend, also a director, said, "What are you talking about? Star Wars isn't real, and yet it makes us feel real and makes us believe, and that's the art." And that's slowly, you know, as simple as it is, but when you're 20, you sometimes don't see the simplicities. And then I suddenly thought, it changed something in me. That was a seed that was planted where I slowly said, okay, the great thing about filmmaking, what I really enjoy today, tomorrow it might be a different thing because you want to change your ways, uh, is having a great crew and utilizing everyone, giving everyone the opportunity to do the best job they ever did
Right.
and to put their craft into each frame. You know, we have one frame and we want to make with this frame, we want to make this shot, we want to make this point. And that's why SFX needs to do this and light needs to do that and the camera needs to have that lens on and costume needs to have this feeling and production design, please get rid of the ugly curtain in the background. You
Yeah.
know, that's, I love that, you know, the collaboration of crafting an image.
Right.
Uh, that is a great, that I really enjoy that process of filmmaking.
Yeah. And by doing it well, you let people feel like it's real. Like nobody, like you said, dogma style filmmaking. Oh, it's the truth. But yeah, there's bad versions of it. And suddenly you sit there and go, I don't believe any of it. Mumblecore, which was, the sort of the more Americanized version. Like there are good ones where you go, that does kind of feel like people talking. But how often do you watch one go, this sounds like people thinking they're talking like people? And if that's all you've got in the frame, that's a problem. Whereas here, I don't know how often we've there, a cardinal vapes at the Vatican, right? But it just feels right in this movie that, especially like when he's feeling very pleased with himself, just to see it come up and the little bit of smoke is just like, it's one of the funniest things I've seen all year, because you're just like, that's exactly that person. And
That's
that
right.
it's a movie moment, but a movie moment when it works is all you want. And like I think that also talks to why this movie is succeeding. There's something about wanting to share that experience with other people, and also wanting to like feel like you watch something serious, for lack of a better word, but also that you had a good time. It's incredibly hard. We don't get any of it anymore. This is sort of a unicorn of a movie, I think.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. Yeah. I mean, ideally, we wanted to achieve both. You know, like hit the sweet spot of entertaining people, but also not, you know, intelligently, and bring people to the movie theater. And I'm so happy that well, you know, I have a responsibility in a way. The movie is expensive, and certain people put their trust and their money into it. If
When
you if the movie just is self-serving, I
yeah,
also don't enjoy when I have a crew member that I see in a movie. I see like, oh, the camera person thought they were more important than the others, or
yeah,
the director really was full of themselves and thought they're the greatest director in the world. You feel it.
you
You
do.
feel the movie, and I have an aversion when I feel like you're trying to be super special,
Right.
better than others. And you know, I try to put I just try to use the style that best serves the story,
Yeah.
and you know, bring that home. And whether
Right.
that succeeds or not, then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, when you have the footage, right? When you sit down to start the editing, you don't know. You have what felt hopefully good on the day, and I'm sure you have stuff that you didn't feel good on the day, and you're like, well, we'll see. But like, it's what we got. We'll figure it out. But I think there has to be a moment. Obviously, the big moment is when an audience sees it. But earlier on, when you start to put the puzzle together and it starts to work, or you get to that scene that you're like, I just let's do that later because it's going to be a problem. And then you get there and go, oh, we can, if we do this, all of a sudden you start to figure it out, and that leads to things that would just work in a way that I imagine you can't comprehend on the day when you're shooting it. Like obviously in the final moments, there's a big moment, right? And it's maybe my favorite scene of the year because you just let Ray react for like 45 seconds, it feels like. And I imagine you have to also know the audience is reacting at the same time. It's the perfect like control of the movie to know if there's conversation here where no, people need to be ready for the next line of dialogue. The next line of dialogue is in the crowd, and then we'll come back. And I just, whether it was Telluride, one of the people I do a podcast with saw it just in Albuquerque with people, that every time that happens, people go, there's like a conversation for a second, and then they go right back to the screen to see what happens next. That's editing. That's just being in control of your movie. That's serving the movie, and you do that incredibly well. Just knowing that's what the movie needs right now.
Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, actually, I mean, thank you for thinking that I know. No,
Faking it well, you know,
no one knows. You can only guess, and you don't know, and you don't have that feeling during the edit. So the edit starts basically with utter panic.
Yeah.
And you think, oh my God, it could have been better.
You have too much and not enough.
The first version you see is just boring because it's too long, and you think, oh my God, and you think everything is catastrophe. And somehow you don't learn to calm down. I don't learn saying like, oh, it'll be fine. Don't worry. We've got the footage, because I don't rest until I've got the tone, until I've got the pace, until every edit is fine. Then I can go like, okay, that's all I can do. I don't know any better. This is the best version of what we have. And then so by the time you get to that point, you've seen it so many times,
yeah,
you're kind of numb that you kind of think like, okay, I'm watching it technically now. This shot, that pace of that. That's how I thought it should be. This is what it is. And then, so you don't know if it's going to work or not. You actually have no feeling at all. And all the people you see it with are people that have seen it at least 10 times.
Exactly, yeah.
Your producer and your editor has seen it much more times, your musician, and I don't know, your friends, your wife, etc. And then at some point you go to Telluride, you hand it over, and there's sheer panic before that screen. In the first moment where you realize, I think this might be working, is at the premiere.
Oh, yeah.
And even then, sometimes you don't quite know. Yeah. So that's the hell of editing, the constant uncertainty.
Because you always have too much and not enough, right? You're like, this is a 4-hour movie. What the fuck am I doing with this? But also, like, don't have any of the shots I wanted. Like, I think it's probably healthy. I think if you don't panic, you probably don't have anything, and you're just like, all right.
Because I wish I wouldn't panic, but I do.
Well, I think
the interesting thing is the even worse of what you're saying is getting the shots that you wanted, because I usually get all the shots I want. I never let anything drop. I somehow get it. Thing that I intended we got. And if I don't get it on the day, we'll pick it up at some point. And that I never fail for some reason. I always get it because I just don't give up until we have it. And my cameraman doesn't give up until we have it. It actually pushes me and I push him. And that's a really, fantastic feeling if you have someone who continues to push with you and who doesn't give up and who doesn't rest until you have it. So anyway, when you have all the shots and you see the first cut and think, oh my God, it's not enough. What was I thinking?
I read the script too. I knew what was there. Like, it's, I imagine but there's a sense of finality, I think, that's helpful. We did our shoot, right? These are the tools. Like, someone can make a good movie here. I hope it's me. Because I know that, there are other filmmakers who like edit as they shoot. What we did today, I've already cut. On the last day of shooting, they have a first cut to show everyone. And that's a whole other thing and works for a lot of people. But also, I imagine, is also, I feel like you need that distance. You need that minute of, we're no longer shooting. Like, that adventure is over. Because there's something about on the day, because you're capturing a script, right? That script's maybe not going to change. Maybe it does, but the actors are going to be in a different mood day to day. Like, did they have a good time the day before? Did they think they screwed it up and suddenly you're worried about that and dealing? Like, there's so many things on the day that I think you need that minute of, we've done it. Hopefully it's good. People gave us money because they thought it would be good. Like, I got all my shots. People are happy about that. You can then move on to the next thing. I think that does lead, I think, to when you get to Telluride or Toronto or anywhere, to be able to go, I've done my best, right? And I like the movie. And at the end of the day, I like, if no one else likes the movie, I did a thing I like. And that is, I think, the hugest thing. Like, I can't imagine making a movie and then not liking it. I've talked to directors who are just like, I made a movie, nobody liked it, and I'm one of the people who don't like it. And it seems like the instead of the best job, it becomes the worst job.
Yeah, that's a terrible feeling to have, and that happens to everyone when you
Yeah.
realize I just was wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do it better, and I made a mistake. And that's a real terrible feeling to have.
But then I think the flip side, when you have something like this, which 10 filmmakers would make 10 different ways,
Yeah.
right? There's no two versions of this movie that I think two filmmakers make, because it is so malleable in terms of how you what's serious, what's funny, what's satirical, what's like pulpy, what's thrilling, what's dramatic. Like, it does kind of hit a little bit of everything. And it's almost, this is a gross simplification, but it's kind of like turning the knobs of like, okay, this should be more serious, this should be more funny, this should make you gasp, this should make you wonder. Like, you just being able to do that right makes your version, and for my money, it's the best version I think we possibly could have gotten, because it's a classy, like, it's the thing that you would like howl at the movies on a Friday night, but it's made with the precision of an art film, which is, you never get it. You just never get it anymore. Like the movie like your parents would go see on a Friday night was like, for lack of a better word, often it would be like trash. You'd be like, oh, what's the thing that like people were gonna go see, watch, and never talk about again? And
Yeah.
this is a movie that I think if you don't want to talk about it afterwards, you fell asleep or something. Because like how you don't reaction.
I'm not going to interrupt you.
There we go.
Thank you. Thank you for saying it. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's all you want is making a movie that inspires discussion.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than going out of it and thinking like, yeah, that was fine. Let's go have a beer.
Much rather someone hate it, right? Than be like,
I mean, exactly. Polarizing opinion is wonderful, and I think I cherish. There's some, if there's criticism for the movie, I cherish that discussion. That one audience member might think, oh, this was, offensive or whatever, and the other said why, and then there's a discussion. But the main thing is, unlike in the movie where political factions don't listen to each other, that you listen to each other and learn from each other. And I constantly have arguments or discussions with people, and suddenly I go, oh my God, Joey's right.
No, don't say that. That's not true.
He made a point, and now as I told you earlier, my friend who made that Star Wars comment, I suddenly, it changed me, and constantly when you have discussions and you're open for other people's opinions, you go, oh, that point, she's wrong about this, but I think she's really right about this. And they got to revise my own position.
Oh, yeah. And I think it also lets you have a healthier relationship with the career, with your career. Like, obviously you don't think about it like that, but to make All Quiet, which is a heavier movie, which is a serious movie, wouldn't work as well if it made you giggle at random times. It needs to make you think of the cost of war, the toll that it takes. Like, it obviously needs to be that way, but then to do this and to have the little bit of a wink of, don't worry, we're making a movie here with a capital M, and like, I'm making my points, and you should be angry about how politics. Because I watched the movie and went, this is a political convention. This is just the DNC or whatever you want to put it at. But then to be like, but I can still have fun. I think it also just leads you to know, when I think about the next thing I want to do, I have the ability to do it, and I can kind of do, not for like anything, but anything that interests me, I can probably attack it, because I've shown that I can do different tones, and I can still be me. I can be happy with the movie. That's
yeah. Especially, I like to be. I like to be out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I like to go to a place where I've, as I said earlier, what drew me to Rome is that it was the opposite of All Quiet, thematically, and that I had no clue about the Vatican, about this type of movie, of how to make it. And so when you are challenged into terrain that you know nothing about, and that you feel like a student, you want to explore it. And I mean, Coppola said the best thing about he gave a masterclass once in Morocco at the festival, and he said, masterclass, I'm a student, like, I learn every time I don't know how to make it. and if I can preserve that feeling until I'm 85, like he is, then you've succeeded. You know, that you've succeeded to continue to be a student in situations that you feel,
Yeah.
you know, you learn something.
100%. And I think that you are well on your way. One of my favorite films of the year. I had an incredibly good time with it. It's so much fun and it's so good. And it's such a flex of talent. So I was thrilled to do this and I can't wait. One, I can't wait to see what happens with the film. And I can't wait to see what's next because there's literally no movie I wouldn't watch you make at this point.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
I will try to not disappoint.
I will let you know. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for doing this. I look forward to the next time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jeff. Take care.
Bye.